So today we're going to talk about back to school hacks on packing school lunches. I know that school started back a couple months ago. So this is about the time I know personally as a mom that I start to get in a rut when it comes to packing school lunches. I'm just kind of over it at this point. Um, and so for me, I think it's helpful to talk about some hacks on packing school lunches because I need them. And then for others, I'm sure that others are kind of in the same boat as me. Um, so these are some of my parenting hacks when it comes to packing school lunches, some things that we do in my house, some things that I know that my friends and family do that are sure to save you time, energy, and hopefully your sanity when it comes to packing lunches for your kiddos. So my name is Lauren. I am the Family Support Specialist with Child Care Answers. So in my role, I help provide one-on-one parenting support for families. I help connect families to childcare, and then I connect families to resources like this. You can always email me. Our agency services Central Indiana. But there are other specialists around the entire state that can support you. I will share the map at the very end of who your local agency is, but feel free to reach me and we can kind of move you to whoever you need. It'll be very seamless for you as the parent. So I do want to start with my truths. Number one, I do not want to devote a lot of time and energy to packing lunches. I am not the parent that packs this lunch. This is the lunch that I thought I would pack when my kids were little, before I ever had to pack school lunches, when childcare fed them. I would save pictures on Pinterest. I thought that I would do themed holiday lunches and all of this, and this isn't me. If this is you, great. More power to you. I aspire to be you sometimes, but just kind of being honest that I don't want to spend or devote a lot of time to packing lunches. I also get into a rut and I get very bored with packing lunches, and then my lunches tend to get unhealthy or monotonous, and they're getting the same lunch day after day after day, which I don't think my kids necessarily mind. But just being honest. And again, they aren't always healthy. I try my best, but it's hard. And so when I'm not following the hacks that I'm going to talk to you today about, that kind of happens to me. So hopefully some of those hacks will help combat this. But I am not the parent that's going to make fancy lunches. Sometimes my kid has Cinnamon Toast Crunch and a granola bar and fruit snacks in their lunch, and it is what it is. And I know that the other parents joining today or viewing this are probably in the similar situation sometimes as me. I'm not perfect, and perfection is not possible. So don't strive for perfection either. Just try to do your best from day to day, and your best is going to look different on a daily basis. So as we're thinking about packing healthy lunches and helping create healthy feeding habits and eating habits with our kiddos, I just wanted to kind of start with ways that we can encourage healthy eaters, even if one day their lunch or their dinner is Cinnamon Toast Crunch and a granola bar and fruit snacks. It's to serve a variety of healthy foods and snacks. So giving them a lot of healthy choices to choose from. Eating is not ours to control. Our job as the parent is to provide healthy foods for our child, to provide options, and their job is to eat it. They are going to eat all of their vegetables one time, and then another time they're never going to eat them. And that's okay. Our job is to provide choices, and their job is to eat what they want on their plate or what sounds good. And typically in a day, a week, a month, they're going to get what they need. Even if one day they eat only fruit, the next day they just take a bite of the vegetable, the next day they're carb heavy. They're going to get what they need if we're providing them options. Also, this one's very difficult for me, especially nearing the end of COVID, I kind of got burnt out being home, working from home, having my kids at home, making meals all the time, that once they went back to school, I kind of got into this habit of ordering DoorDash after the kids went to bed. And I knew it was happening because I'd have to be like, hold on, let me go get my food from the porch before I read you your bedtime story. They didn't care, but they started eating peanut butter tacos on the couch, and I started getting Thai from DoorDash. And so something I need to do a better job at is being a better role model when it comes to eating healthy. So that I'm showing them that I'm eating healthy things and that you're eating healthy things alongside of me. This is something that I was very adamant about when I was teaching 2-year-olds, that I don't like canned vegetables, but I always put them on my plate, so that the kids saw them on my plate. Even if I wasn't eating them, they were still there. I wasn't going to say like, oh no, don't give me the canned peas, I don't like those, because then that immediately sends signals to children that like, oh, I don't like those either. And I try really hard to have my kids not talk negatively about food to each other, so that the other isn't inclined to be like, oh no, I don't want to try that because my brother doesn't like it or my sister doesn't like it. So if you don't like peas, that's okay, but don't tell your sister that peas are disgusting because she might like them. And by telling her that, you're setting her up to not like them. So that is something I need to do a better job at. We do a really good job in the summer of this because we garden and we eat a lot of foods out of our garden. And so that is a really great way of being a good role model, is cooking and growing foods together as a family. You also want to avoid food battles. Again, feeding isn't ours to control. Throw out your old views on food of like the clean plate club and having to finish something before you get dessert and all of that, and really just provide healthy choices. And again, eating isn't ours to control. There are so many things that we control in a child's life. And this is something that we need to give the power over to the child to make good choices and to make choices based off of the choices that we've been given. And then involve kids in the process. So again, gardening, cooking, grocery shopping, packing lunches, let them be a part of that, because when kids are involved, they're more inclined to own the process. So when they've helped pack their lunch or written down what they want from the grocery store and gone and picked them out, they are more inclined to eat those things. When they've grown the tomatoes, they're more likely to try them than if you just pick them up from the store. So involve them in the process. So that takes me to hack number 1, what we've all been waiting for. And number 1 is to don't overthink it. Don't stress. Don't try to be perfect when it comes to lunches. It's okay if one week every single lunch is the same. Like, nobody's trying to be perfect. No one's trying to overthink it here. And again, nutrition is cumulative. Your child's going to get what they need over the course of a day, a week, a month. It builds up in our system and it's cumulative. So even if one day isn't the greatest or one week isn't the greatest, it's okay. It's the same with screen time. You know, traveling with kiddos in the car, you might do a 14-hour road trip and they're on their iPad the entire time. But then once you get on vacation, maybe they barely have screen time. It's all cumulative and it builds up. So it's okay if for 14 hours they were on a screen, because the rest of the week they were out swimming in the ocean and having fun. So don't overthink it. And one of the best tools that I have for not overthinking lunchtime is using this basic formula when I go to pack lunches, of putting in a protein, a carb, a fruit or a veggie, or both, and then something fun. So this really helps me as a parent to just grab 4 things or 5 things from the fridge or the pantry, shove them into the lunchbox and get out the door. And this also helps me with planning ahead and grocery shopping, to kind of make my list of like, what proteins do we want this week? What carbs do we want this week? What fruits and veggies do we want? And then we typically have those something fun on hand all of the time. And something that will help with this, and you'll get this in your email or you can download it from our website, is this school lunch cheat sheet. So what this has is options for proteins, options for carbs, options for fruits and veggies, and then options for your sweet treats or something fun. So that you can just be like, okay, we're going to do ham, we're going to do bread, we're going to do berries, and we're going to do chips. Done and done. So I use this, it hangs on my fridge. I use this for packing lunches, but I also use it when I'm writing down the list of foods that I want to get from the grocery store for school that week, or just to have around the house, is that I'll scan this and be like, okay, we need this, we need this, we need this, we need this. And this is something that my 8-year-old actually can help with, is he can read through these and highlight, like, these are the things that sound good to me this week. And then he can use this as a tool to then write our grocery list. He can see the words, he can spell them on the paper, and then he has ownership of the process. For my daughter, who's 4, sometimes I'll read her a couple of choices. Okay, what fruits do you want in your lunch this week? We can do applesauce, we can do grapes, we can do raisins, we can do carrot sticks. Which one do you want? And then she gets to decide and then write her own list and practice writing through scribbling. So this is a fantastic tool to really keep it simple and not overthink the lunchtime process. Hack number 2 is to make lunches at night. So putting lunches off till the morning just makes things super chaotic in the morning. It gives you one extra thing to do. And I don't know about you, but our mornings are very stressful and very quick. My kids have to get up pretty early and they're out the door pretty quickly. They eat lunch in the car or eat breakfast in the car on the way to school. And so we don't have a lot of extra time to make lunches, or we're getting up that much earlier in the morning. So what we do is we make lunches at night. So while we're cleaning up from dinner, we are also packing lunches. So my husband and I do it kind of simultaneously, side by side, and sometimes we involve the kids in the process. So that in the morning, all we have to do is throw an ice pack in the lunchbox, throw it in their backpacks, and we're good to go. My lunches are much healthier and much more well-rounded when I make them at night versus make them in the morning. When I make them in the morning, I'm just starting to throw stuff in there and hoping for the best. So make them at night. And follow a routine. So in addition to that basic formula that I shared of adding a protein, a carb, a fruit or a veggie, and something fun, follow a lunchtime routine. So do something that, set up a routine that kind of helps you get into the habit of packing lunches successfully. So store things in the same place in the refrigerator or the pantry, make lunches about the same time every evening, create routines around lunchtime, because when we have routines and we have a plan, things tend to go better and smoother and easier. So like I mentioned before, we pack lunches at night while we are cleaning up from dinner, but we also have a routine of where foods are stored in the refrigerator and in the pantry that are specific to school lunches. So we have the top or the bottom 2 drawers in the refrigerator. One of them is separated into compartments that has yogurt sticks and applesauces and fruit cups and bags of grapes and things like that. And then the bottom drawer are all of the little things that change from week to week. So we do a lot of prep work, which is my next hack. And so I'll talk about that next. But it allows us to know very quickly and easily what foods are available to pack in a lunch, because sometimes opening the refrigerator, there's so much going on that you're like, I don't even know where the food is. Like, what am I supposed to choose from here? And that really helps us. In addition, we have that kind of mirrored in our pantry where we kind of know where things are, and they're down low so that the kids can have access to those easily as well. So something that can help with creating and following a routine is creating like a sample menu. So using that school lunch cheat sheet that has a list of all of the different foods to then kind of plan out a menu. And these can be a weekly menu, it can be a monthly menu, whatever you want to do. But here's an example of kind of how you might take all of those foods and put them together to then very easily pack lunches. So this week I might be planning kind of these lunches. So then I know when I go to the grocery store, these are the things that I need to get. And then these are the things that I need to prep when I get home. So I might do like a ham and cheese tortilla roll up, mandarin oranges, and fruit snacks. I've got my protein, my carb, my fruit, and my something fun. I might make my own Lunchable by getting pepperoni, crackers, applesauce, and M&M yogurt, which my kids love. And it's just an added protein, which is great. So I try to find those something funs that have protein in them so that we're bumping up that protein for lunchtime to get them through dinner. Another great lunch is yogurt and granola, again, double protein. And then things like raisins and pudding cups are a great something fun that also bring protein as well. Because I know that those are oftentimes the hardest for parents to think about are proteins. Something that our school changed during COVID and it's continued is no nuts. So my kids used to eat peanut butter tacos or Nutella tacos, which is just really peanut butter inside of a tortilla, every day for lunch. Like that was their go-to lunch. They're not big meat eaters. So that really threw a wrench in our lunchtime planning because we couldn't do those any longer. So I know that proteins are difficult. I think it's always helpful to hear what other people are packing. Grilled chicken, pepperoni. Yeah, pepperoni is so easy and kids love it. Yep. And you can use pepperoni in a variety of ways. Like you can just throw pepperoni in there or you can put it on something. Something I love from my lunches, my kids don't eat them, but I do, are hard-boiled eggs. And I will admit that I buy them at Costco. They are pre-cooked and pre-shelled. So they take the guesswork and it's so easy that I just pack them in my lunch and they are ready to go. It's a great protein that's like done for me. Yeah, so nuts, cashews, peanuts, things like that. Yep, those are really great. Salami, bologna are big hits. Yeah, I didn't grow up on bologna. And so as an adult, I really feel a bologna sandwich. It was something that I'd always look forward to when I would babysit when I was younger, that people would have bologna in their house. And so I would always make bologna sandwiches, which is like really random, but I never had it as a kid. So yeah. And I'm weird about lunch meat in my lunchbox. And salami and bologna are two of those lunch meats that like don't get gross in a lunchbox or don't change taste. So if you have kiddos that are very particular about that, those might be good lunch meats to pull from. Yep. And if you can't do nut butters, you can always try seeds or like non-nut butters. I know that like sun butter is a big hit in a lot of families, that they will substitute sun butter for peanut butter. And some kids don't know the difference. And so that could be something to try. Beans are a great protein for kids who don't like a lot of meat. So doing like a bean and cheese quesadilla, and kids can eat it cold, they don't care. And then mac and cheese is also a really great one to put into a thermos to send for lunch. It's a great protein. Yeah, Jasmine says my kids don't know the difference. That they have peanut restrictions as well. Yeah, there are some kids that like have no idea. My daughter would eat sun butter in childcare and have no idea that it wasn't peanut butter. And yeah, Tom, sun butter is from sunflower seeds. Yeah. I don't know if my 8-year-old, if I gave it to him, I bet he would be like, oh, I noticed that was different, even if he didn't. But a lot of kids, it's an easy substitute and then they have no idea. Yep. As far as proteins go too, I like to find things that have added protein. So granola, you can get granola with added protein. So then you have the yogurt and the granola, which is like just extra protein. We don't do a lot of kid yogurts outside of yogurt sticks because they're easy and I can freeze them. I'll do a protein that has a low sugar, or a yogurt that has a high protein, low sugar, with a granola. Target, their Good and Gather brands. Granolas are fantastic. And they have a celebration one, which has like sprinkles in it. It's kind of like cake batter is the flavor. But even with that being the flavor, it's not super high in sugar. It just has kind of like a slight sweet flavor, like that tastes like cake. There's sprinkles in it, so it makes it fun. And it's delicious. So that is one of my daughter's favorite. And she gets really excited when she has granola. I add it in there as her something fun because there's sprinkles in it, but I'm just giving her a good carb with protein in it, and she thinks it's a treat. So sometimes your something funs don't have to be like a cookie or Halloween candy or things like that. It can be like a pudding cup that has double protein. It can be granola. It can be a granola bar. We love the Z bars, the Clif Z bars. My kids eat a lot of them, and those are also great something funs that give them some good nutrition as well. So awesome. Thank you guys for sharing that. Here is another menu. What I like to do is have 4 made up, and then I rotate them every month. So I go through each one each week, and then I start over again. And then if we get bored or if I don't have certain things, I can make easy substitutions, but it just takes the guesswork out of meal planning and lunch prep for me. So then that takes me to hack number 4, which is prep. So when you have things prepped, you're more likely to use it. And this is true for school lunches. It's true for dinners. I am not very good at prepping dinners. I get kind of bored with it and I'm like, oh, I have to cook dinner again. But if I grocery shop and then prep on Sunday, I am way more inclined to cook for the week and have healthy meals than if I don't. Then we're more likely to order pizza or DoorDash and then not eat very healthy or just have cereal for dinner. So this is an example of kind of how I prep my lunches. Working from home during COVID and then it's continued has really affected the way that I eat lunch. There are definitely days that I'm like, all I've had today is chips. That's awesome. Or I haven't eaten anything today. So I have started prepping my lunches for home and for the office. So when I do go to the office, I have my lunch prepped. And when I'm at home, my lunch is prepped so that I don't have to open the pantry or open the fridge and think about what I'm going to eat. So this is kind of what my lunch prep looks like in this picture. I take some Tupperware that's sectioned or bento boxes, and I prep all 5 of my lunches for the week and stick them in the fridge so that all I have to do is take out what I need. I do this with my husband too. I find it very obnoxious that I have to make his lunches, and I don't have to. But if I don't do it, he doesn't prep, and then he ends up eating fast food or ordering lunch every single day, which is very expensive and very unhealthy. So I find it my duty to ensure that he does not spend a ton of money and he eats healthy by packing his lunches like this. And then I also do this for dinner. So I prep as much as I can beforehand. And then I make sure that I take things out of the freezer and thaw them in the morning. The Instant Pot has helped in this because I can cook things frozen in there. So if I'm not planning ahead, that helps. And then for school lunches, we do something very similar. So depending on what we're going to make for school lunches that week, I prep and I have my children prep with me. So I have them tell me what they want to eat for lunches. We write it down together, we grocery shop together, and then we come home and we prepare it together so that they have ownership of what's going to be in their lunchbox that week. And so when they say, like, can I have a fruit snack in my lunch this week? I'm like, of course, because I know that everything else that is in your lunch that day are things that you have said, this is what I want, this is what sounds good to me. So I know that you're going to eat most of that in addition to your fruit snacks. So if we're going to do, ham and cheese tortilla roll-ups, I will prepare them, we'll roll them up, I'll stick them in baggies and stick them in the drawer in the fridge that our school lunch drawer is, so that we just have to grab the bag. If we're having grapes, I have my kids wash them and de-stem them. And then we bag them into 10 different bags so that they're in the fridge so we can just grab them in the morning. And then we do the same for those things in the pantry, like chips, veggie straws, those types of things. So here's kind of an example of what that can look like. So the picture on the far left is a basket inside of a pantry that has essentially like, here are the snacks, or here are the carbs that can go into a lunchbox. So grab one, grab two, whatever for your lunch. And then you know that that is like, I'm allowed to take whatever I want out of this, and I'm allowed to eat these things as snack after school or on the weekends. The picture in the middle is something similar to what we do at home, where I have the snack and the protein and the lunch piece components kind of separated by container. And then I tell them, grab one from each container. So you might get pretzels today and carrot sticks and ham and cheese roll up and a fruit snack. So like, just grab one from each, or grab two from the pantry, two from the fridge. And then the picture on the right is what my fridge drawers look like. So cheese sticks, yogurt sticks, apple pouches, fruit cups that are all separated by type, instead of all being thrown together in one drawer, because when it's all together, it can get very overwhelming. But when it's separated, it's very easy to see the different components and what my choices are. So hopefully those help. And then involve them in the process. I've already mentioned this several times, but again, when the kids have ownership of the process, when they're involved in the process, they are more inclined to eat what you're serving them. So we do have a question in the chat box. Do you end up with much food waste at the end of the week with non-pick perishable items? And I have a lot less food waste when I prep ahead of time than when I don't prep. So I will take, say we're having grapes and apple slices this week, and that is our fruit. I will do 5 bags of grapes and then 5 bags of apple slices. And to be honest, we get the pre-cut apples in the bag. We don't slice them. It's just easier in our house. And those are your 2 options. Like, you told me on Sunday that you wanted apples and grapes this week. So those are your choices. Grab one. Versus having just a bag of grapes tends to go to waste more often because we're not pulling from it, because it's not as easy to pull out the entire bag, take what I want from it. So when I prep, I find that I have less waste, and I'm thawing less or preparing less than I would have had I just like opened the fridge and taken what I want. I also buy less at the grocery store when I'm prepared in that manner, which helps with the food waste. We always have some, but I compost as much as I can. So then at least I'm like turning it back into soil to grow fruits and vegetables in the spring. At least I say that that's helping. That's a good question. So we also love making bento boxes for lunches. So sometimes I have them prepare the bento boxes rather than, pre-portioning things depending on how we're feeling or what we want that week. And so here are some examples of way that you can prepare like a bento box or like a grown-up lunch box or Lunchable. And what I love about these is it's little bites of several different things. So if you have kiddos that don't like a lot of one thing, or you may think like, oh, they're not going to eat their cheese cubes, but I know that they'll eat this other stuff, that you continue to provide those choices, but give them other things that you know that they're going to eat. So I love kind of these bento box ideas. But again, just don't overthink lunches. Create a plan ahead, prep, and it won't be as overwhelming, and you'll find that you're making healthier choices for your kiddos, but also for yourselves, which we often neglect ourselves in the process. So again, thank you so much for joining us, and I will see you on another session. Take care. Goodbye.